Hi, I'm Jeff Ramos, and thank you for joining us today. I've been at Microsoft for 14 years, and I've spent the last 5 years in Microsoft IT. Today we're going to talk about the consumerization of IT and how Microsoft is becoming a social enterprise. Chris Slemp is part of my team and will be co-presenting with me today. And Chris, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little about you?
Sure. My name's Chris Slemp, and I've been at Microsoft now for 11 years on Sunday, actually, and just recently moved into IT. I've been working in the social space for a couple of years, but just starting on this project.
So Chris, the idea of consumerization of IT has been in lots of magazines and things like that. What does it really mean to you?
It means that technology is so pervasive, such a commodity now, that we have come to expect a certain level of service, a certain level of flexibility in just about any task we could think to accomplish, whether that's collaborating with somebody, uploading a video, doing all those things on my mobile phone, or staying connected with people. I have a certain level of expectation and of quality and the kinds of things that I can do, and also of choice of all the different things that I can do. And so where IT departments have been a little more restrictive in the past about what laptops you can use and so forth, consumerization is about opening that up, making it feel more like I'm on the outside when I'm at work.
Well, it certainly feels like some of those experiences that you mentioned are definitely richer outside of work than in work.
Yep.
Is that your opinion?
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, at Microsoft, we're doing some things to address this, and what I thought I'd do is maybe drill down on a couple of specific examples. So we're all familiar with Twitter,
yep,
and most of us are familiar with the concept of microblogging. Does microblogging really have any business value at work?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen probably 24 different use case scenarios where people are using microblogging in a variety of different ways inside of work. Yeah, some of the fun stuff goes on, and that's actually great for morale. People are having fun with it. But they're also answering questions. And in fact, we did some research to find out that it took about half the time to get a question answered in a microblog than it does through email. They're finding people a little bit faster. They are discovering what each other are working on and starting to collaborate and make some connections that they haven't in the past.
Well, it seems like there's an opportunity to improve real-time communication in business. So this could potentially take us away from the world of corporate newsletters.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great example too. So we've had people who've come to me with a newsletter and they've said, hey, I've been spending a month crafting this newsletter, gathering information from around my division and sending it out in email, and nobody reads it or sees it, right? And what they've come to me and said, hey, this microblogging thing looks interesting. It's a different channel. We have thousands of people looking at it every day. What if we just kind of atomize it, I call, take little pieces as they become relevant and just shoot them out. And that way they're actually getting interaction, replies back. And yeah, it's just kind of revolutionizing the way we're communicating here.
Well, that's a great point, because it goes from sort of a you read my stuff to interact with me on what it is that I'm communicating. Yeah. Let's talk about another one, video. So certainly YouTube has made video pervasive, on demand all around the world. What are some of the business scenarios you see for video?
That's been used here at Microsoft for a while, actually. There have been several public presentations about Academy. It used to be called Academy Mobile, and now it's Academy. And with that move, actually, it became a kind of Microsoft-wide internal YouTube, and it is being used for all the things YouTube is being used, well, not all of the things, but training, for getting messages out about marketing strategy, any way in which you can imagine video being used in a business. We're using that one platform. People are using it to provide quick updates, almost a newsletter kind of scenario. So a variety of different ways.
Yeah. Well, we talk to a lot of customers in our role here at Microsoft IT, and a lot of them are wondering about the same things we are and thinking through how to get started. So, Chris, what's some of the advice that you give to customers when trying to just get started in the social enterprise world?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is understand your business goals. So as with any IT initiative, you're going to have to figure out what does success look like. And success in a social space has been very traditionally hard to measure. And so there's this big debate in the social business community about what is ROI and is it really important to prove out. The thinking right now is that really we need to tie those metrics to actual business, traditional business metrics like, sales success and time to market and those things, and the number of innovations and collaborations that are going on, and you can map the uptake of your social efforts to those same things. So there's ways to tie them together.
Great. Well, at Microsoft, our experience has also been that we started in video, let's say a couple of years ago, really turned up the attention on microblogging and communities of late. So in some ways, we've started these initiatives separately and disparately.
Yeah.
How is it that we need to be thinking about this as a platform, and as you talk to customers about getting started technically, what are some things? And then maybe if you could also comment on what cultural things are important for customers to think through.
Yeah. So we did have, as you were saying, lots of pockets of social computing activity going on, whether it was video or microblogging. And what we found was we needed kind of a center of gravity for that. And that's kind of what the project you and I are starting has become. And with that, you need there are some central pieces of a social computing platform, like a profile and a news feed, that just really need to be centralized, or they don't get adopted and used, and people don't come to count on them and start to integrate them with the line of business applications, which is where the real power comes in. So, we've started at Microsoft centralizing on the My Site and really kind of investing in that.
My Site, which is a component of our SharePoint solution.
Server, correct, yep. Yes. So SharePoint 2010, and we have that globally now. So, all 100,000 employees across the world have a My Site profile. They all have a news feed that they can get updates from the people that they're connected to. And so investing in that and centralizing our social computing efforts around that profile and tying that into line of business data is where we're headed.
Yeah. So if we talk about the cultural aspects,
yes.
What were some of your biggest learnings, or maybe even surprises, in terms of what cultural obstacles might exist for social in an enterprise?
I'm kind of a naturally sharing kind of person. That's probably why I'm in the social space. So it did come as a surprise to me, but I've learned a lot from working with our partners in EMEA and our subsidiary in EMEA to think about their privacy laws and understand how that integrates with the corporate culture all up. So there's, recognizing different privacy laws in different areas and learning to accommodate those. That was one big learning. Another is just kind of the value proposition of social computing in general. People do struggle with, how do I use a Facebook kind of thing in a work setting? Why would I do that, and what's that for? And so talking to them about transparency and that's a big goal. That's a big goal for driving those cultural aspects.
Well, one last thing that we learned that I wanted to talk about in our discussion today is some of the successes that we've had in mapping social tools to our culture and to different events that occur within our company. And so some of the things that we've done are think about how we extend microblogging and attaching it to important events like, say, our company meeting. Right. Talk a little bit about where we were with usage with microblogging when we started and where we are today. Yeah.
So when we started, it was a experiment, a prototype that was done in Office Labs, and so there were about 1,500 or so people about a year ago who were using it on a regular basis. And then some things happened, like the company meeting, which to date is still has the record for the number of messages that were posted to the microblogging platform, and so a few events like that have triggered this huge upswing. And so now we've got about 30,000 people every week. So that's a third of the company who see this feed at least once a week. And so it's become a mainstream channel now.
Yeah. Well, and at Microsoft, we're as accustomed to using email as our only means of communication as any company, and so if it can happen at Microsoft, it seems like it can happen other places as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I often talk about the statistic that we actually have 4 or 5, I think it is, distribution lists for every employee at Microsoft. We're an email-addicted culture, and they've been my primary competitor, but in rolling out microblogging. But yeah, people are starting to understand when I would email and what role that plays versus when I would post to Office Talk.
So really, social computing will give us more options, won't it, at the end of the day?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, with the introduction of instant messaging, we had another option, another way of communicating, right?
Yeah.
Another way of contacting people. And with social computing, we have another way now of staying in touch with the people that I care about from a business perspective. And so we need to learn how that fits in.
Yeah.
And that's starting to emerge.
Well, there's one last piece I wanted to talk about, Chris, and that was the idea of a great breakthrough that's happened within our company is the idea of meeting instantly and using our Microsoft Link product as a way to be able to connect with video, voice, and media. Tell us a little bit about how you see that fitting into our social roadmap.
Yeah, great. One of the scenarios that we really want to focus on for this next year is how to find an expert. And right now, there's really the best way to do that, even though it's not the way that's used most often, is to search my site for some keywords, and it'll bring back a list of people. And each of them have in those search results, I have a little bubble, presence bubble, so I can see if somebody's online. That works okay, but there was an experiment done with Link that's going to be shipping actually with a Link toolkit pretty soon that puts an expert database behind Link so that I could just post to Link, say this is my question, and it does some matching and finds who's online right now and it connects you with that person in real time. So I think that's kind of where that's headed.
Yeah, it's a really powerful experience. Well, great information, Chris. Thank you very much. If you're interested in some resources on this topic, they can be found on this slide. Thank you, Chris, for today's presentation, and thank you for joining us out there. We hope this has been an informative session, and see you next time.